If it wasn't for them old deer, some rabbits and potatoes and a sack of spuds, and by God, you went pretty hungry sometime, you know.
It was not an easy life for the Metis families living on the South Fork of the Teton in the early part of the 20th century. The Laurences, the Brunos, and the Grays were some of the Metis families living fairly isolated in the canyon then, except for an occasional trip to town.
My dad put up a tent, and then he built boards up alongside, front, and the back of it, and then put pine boughs down for a floor, and that's what we lived in. But it must have been pretty good place to stay, because spring of the year our cheeks would all be pink, you know, good shape. You know?
I told my dad, I said, when I get married, there's 3 things in my life I'm never going to eat, and one's going to be mutton, cornbread, and salt pork. It seemed like that's all we had.
Have you eaten it?
No, I haven't.
The families living in the canyon formed a tight-knit community, working, learning, and playing together.
It was out on the hillside over here, me and Mac and Howard. We'd been up in the dump ground where Ray Gibbler put his stuff. Picked up a big old, what we call a truck tire, and we rolled it home, and we took it up on top of the hill over here. I was small enough of the bunch, so I got crawled inside of that tire, and they pushed me off the hill. Boy, you never saw the world go around so fast in your life as you do inside of a tire. The only thing, it was a good thing it did, it finally hit a tree and tipped over and jarred me out of the tire.
We done square dancing and what they called round dancing, I guess. Lauren Bruno was kind of the overseer when and he told me when I was a little kid, he said, you're not going to learn to play violin and guitar and you're going to be the caller. He said, so don't get in your head to take the violin. And I got a violin for my birthday when I was 5. And I still got it under the bed at home.
Did you ever learn to play it, or did you decide you were the caller?
No, I was the caller.
One of the young Bruno boys, Mac, generated some excitement himself at the age of 9 with a unique find in front of his family's cabin.
Well, I was just walking out across the field, and there was a teepee ring there. There's probably about 3 teepee rings there, and this coin was laying in the middle of it. There was a bit of it sticking on the ground, and I dug it out and took it over to my folks, and from there it went on. They cleaned it up at home best they could with a little soda water and whatnot.
As the years have passed, it's become more difficult to see where the TP rings were, but we've marked for you where 3 of them were placed. And as I walk into the center of these 3, you can also tell that a fire circle was made. The coin Mac unearthed was determined by the Smithsonian Institute to be a Roman coin dating back to 64 AD.
As far as I know on it and how it got where it was at, I have no idea.
Mac Bruno still has the coin. He doesn't have any immediate plans for it, but he says he's open to suggestions. It's been 60 years since that rare find, and the children and families living in the canyon at that time have since moved into larger surrounding communities. But they still remember fondly their years in the small canyon cabins, despite the difficulties. This cabin, like the Métis culture, hasn't changed much since it was built. But there have been a few things that bring it into the modern era, like electricity and a phone line. The Métis people have also assimilated into modern culture while still maintaining characteristics that demonstrate their uniqueness as a people. A recent reunion of descendants of families from the South Fork of the Teton showed the united Métis spirit. They are people searching for roots and identity with a culture that has had to fight to survive. From the early days in the Red River Valley in Canada to the present day, the Métis have had to struggle for everything they have against the opposition of prejudice and injustice. But a newfound sense of pride seems to be stirring within the Métis people as they realize they have survived. And for the Métis of Montana, they say the next step in securing the future of their people is federal recognition. We'll be right back. Stay with us.